Hello, friends. My name is Elle, and this is Linda Moon. And you are watching a Grow Kids deep dive for the spring quarter of Volume 5 of Grow Kids. What we're going to do in this deep dive is we're going to look at our recommended discipleship activity for the spring, which focuses on the spiritual habit of spending time with God. And it's also very Easter friendly. And then we're also going to look at an event that is a kids' color run that is either a generic event or an Easter event, depending on how you're feeling. So we're going to talk about kind of the big picture of both of these things, but we're also going to focus in on a few details. And so that's the plan.
And if you're a Grow user, then we are here to help you get started and start planning in advance for some of these things. Maybe you started already, and that's great. And even if you're not a Grow user, we think that there are lots of ideas here that you can steal and take and use in your ministry because everybody puts on Easter and spring events this time of year. So we think we have some great ideas here for you as well. So, what we're going to do is we're going to start off by giving you an overview of the discipleship resource, and then we'll throw in some fun tips for you on how you can level that up. And then we're going to go through an overview of the event and then give you some tips on how to level that up.
Okay, so first let's take a look at Crossway Station, which is our discipleship activity for this quarter. Like we mentioned, this is an Easter friendly kind of activity. Linda's going to walk through the details of that in a second. But what I want to talk about first is how this aligns with the spiritual habit of spending time with God. If you're familiar with Grow, you know that we always recommend focusing on this in the spring quarter. Although you don't have to, you can focus on it whenever you want. But we always do it in the spring, right around Easter time. It's a great time to kind of talk spiritual habits in general, spiritual disciplines, talking about, getting into the Bible, doing devotions, all that good stuff right around Easter time. And so this spiritual habit activity is going to be really focused on helping kids connect with God personally through prayer. And so, Linda, tell us more about it. How are we going to achieve that with this?
Yeah, so this activity is kind of like a mini Stations of the Cross, hence Crossway Station, right? And the entire activity has like a train theme to it. So the kids are going to be going through 6 different stations and they take place at different platforms throughout the train station. And so at each platform, they're going to be doing 3 things. The first is they're going to be reading a scripture, and each scripture is related to one of the major events leading up to the cross. And then there's going to be a focus section where there's a little bit of teaching. There's some talking points for you to talk through with your kids and also lead them in some reflection and discussion questions. And then you're going to wrap it up with this activity. At an activity at each platform. And the activities are just really basic, low prep, but it's going to help reinforce the things that you're talking about so that as they walk away from each platform, they have something to take away from that, something that relates to the Easter story and something that they can hold on to. And so, since this is not supposed to be like a large event, there's not a lot of decorating to do with that. But if you feel so inclined, you can go ahead and send us pictures because we love pictures. But we did include some really cool platform signs that you can label the stations with if you want to amp up your space. Either way, however you decide to do this, we'll talk about formatting in just a second. But however you decide to do it, I just want to encourage you all to enjoy the journey like a train ride, right? Enjoy it. Don't focus so much on trying to get through everything in the allotted time you have, but just trust that you are having meaningful conversations with kids about Jesus and just telling them the stories of the events that lead up to the cross.
I love that. So now that we kind of know big picture what this is all about, we're just going to give you a handful of tips to help you make this a little bit more awesome.
So, the first tip we have for you is choose the format that works for you. I know this seems super logical, but we do plan out certain things to be done in a certain way, but you are not locked in to do it that way. You can customize it for your ministry however it works best. And so here's some things you might want to think about as you decide on how you want to conduct this activity. Think about how you want to do it in terms of the people you want to target. Do you want kids to be able to do this with their small groups and just with their church friends? Or do you want it to be like a family activity that they can do at home or even on campus? Once you decide that, then and you can choose like how you want to actually conduct it. So like, when do you want to do this event? So is it going to be like a one day, all day event where kids travel from station to station? Or will it be a weekly event where you do it for 6 weeks? Or will it be like a week long event, like similar to a VBS where you do something one day every week, every day of the week leading up to Easter, probably? And then as you do that, you can think about then, where am I going to do this? Is it going to be an on campus thing? Will it be like a take home thing? Or will it be a Zoom online interaction? Like, there's so many ways to do things nowadays. If you do choose to do it remotely, like having it be a take home or doing it online, we suggest you do prepare kits for them, for everyone, so they can participate. So nobody says like, I don't have this. And so you can do that really easily by printing out all of the activity instructions that we provide for you, the shopping list, and provide the materials or where to find the materials that are in the list. And then also we have a cool train ticket that kids can use that adds to the whole Crossway Station theme of it all.
That is so cute. Also, Linda, I love that you used the word conduct casually as if it wasn't a pun. I knew it was a pun. Love that. Okay. And then tip number 2 is, if you do want to kind of make this like a big, large scale kind of event, we would recommend for sure making it an Easter event. So if you want to blow this up, make it really big, either a one-day event or kind of a VBS style, like Linda was saying, here are just a few like fun ways you can do that. First of all, have your volunteers dress up like train conductors, because that's really funny and we would love to see them in their overalls, please. That would be so great. Send us pictures. Platform 6 in this activity is kind of like the celebration terminal. And so you can use that as a launching point into like a big Easter party. You can do like carnival food and games, all of that good stuff. Then think about those tickets that kids get. On top of kids kind of getting their ticket punched, what you can also do is that kids can collect Easter candies and prizes at each of the different little stations. And of course, if your church loves Easter egg hunts, and I mean, who doesn't? We love an Easter egg hunt. If you're sick of it, skip this part. But if you want to do an Easter egg hunt, you definitely can include this here. You can do that by writing clues to where each station is located, and then hide those in like 6 different colored eggs. And then kids would have to like find all 6 of the different colored Easter eggs in order to find out where the stations are. That could be a fun little twist. And it's also a good way to like stagger the groups so that everybody isn't clustered around the same stations at the same time, because that sounds a little chaotic. So there we go. That's the second tip.
Yes, that's so fun. I think all of these tips are convincing me I want to make this a one-day event for myself.
Great. Good.
We did mention the train ticket a couple times. It looks like this. And what you can do is you can actually turn this train ticket into a raffle ticket. And I think I want to encourage you to do this, because that will also invite people to participate when they know that, hey, we might win something if we go to all of the stations. Not that we need to incentivize everything we do, but especially if you want it to be an event that you use as outreach or reach out to people who don't come out regularly, this is one way to do it. So I love it. So you can take this train ticket, and after it gets punched at each platform, make sure you tell your station leaders to punch both parts of the ticket, like the main part and also the stub, and take the completed stub and then have them write their name on it and drop it in a box and draw it out and give out some fun prizes. We think some fun prizes to give out would be no-brainer: Ticket to Ride board game. That'd be amazing. And maybe you have a train museum or an amusement park or something related to trains you can give them a ticket to, or even a train ride, like you can give them a train ride somewhere, and also train sets for especially the younger crowd.
Love it. So fun. So that is kind of the big idea for this discipleship activity. We also want to talk about this event that we have. So we're going to talk about that in a second. But as we wrap up things on this discipleship activity, just keep in mind, you can make this its own event, like we were just talking about. It can be an activity that you do like during your programming. So many ways that you can do this. If you do want to make it a big event, then pay attention to this next part, because maybe you even want to combine this with the event idea that we're about to give you. All right, so let's talk about the event for this quarter, which is a kids color run. Now, of course, around Easter time, like we've mentioned before, people typically love to do Easter egg hunts, and that's great. If you want to do an Easter egg hunt, we're going to tell you how to incorporate one into this event as well. But if you are looking for a nice reprieve from the traditional Easter egg hunt around Easter time, this will be a nice little fun alternative for you. So the kids color run, we're going to talk about that. Linda, you know all the details though, so why don't you tell us about all of these details instead of me?
Now, I'm a little sad we didn't put fun in the title, like Kids Color Fun Run,
That would have
because we
been
want to make
cute.
sure it's fun.
We can just add it. Just guys in your graphics, just get Microsoft Paint out and just do a little add a little fun in there. It'd be great.
Fun run. So, if you haven't heard of a color run before, it's basically a marathon for kids, and they get covered in colorful powdered paint as they run. And I know the way I described it, it doesn't sound as exciting, but you have to go to Google and search all the photos because everybody there just looks like they're having the best time. And so I know your kids are going to love it too because they love, running around and they love getting messy. So this is great. So, how you're going to run this event is you're going to start out with check in, obviously. And at that station, make sure you have all of your forms ready to go for parents to sign as they check their kids in. And then after, make sure you distribute a white t shirt, which is going to get dirty real soon. And a key thing that you need to do is you need to take a before photo before all the powder paint gets everywhere. Every tip I read online about how to do a successful color run, they're like, please take a before picture. So make sure you do that. And then you're going to have these pre-race activities for the early birds, or just have it as part of the event. And they're divided by color. And at each station, kids are going to be doing a very simple activity, like very simple, no prep. And when they do, they're going to get little bags filled with powdered paint that they're going to get to use at the start of the race. And when the race starts, you're going to have everybody take the paint out of the little bag you provided, put it in their hands, throw it in the air, and then they go. And then at different checkpoints throughout the race, have volunteers stand there to throw more paint at them. And then they're going to end up with just these wonderful, amazing, creative shirts. And as the race is being run, make sure there's plenty of stations for water and snacks. Just a side thing about races is I personally have never run in a race. And so if you are feeling a little apprehensive about doing it, don't feel like it has to be a 5K or anything really official. It can just be like laps around your parking lot, and just make it really simple and accessible for everybody. And after the race is over, make sure you do a celebration. So this is where you take your after photo, and then make sure you hand out participation prizes for everybody. And then you could also offer prizes. So it can be a race where you come in like first, second, third place, or it can just be raffle prizes, however you want to do it. And we think some fun prizes you might want to give out are like sidewalk chalk, or these emoji beach balls. Also, an art set would fall into theme, right? Because it's also colorful. And these giant Uno cards, maybe for like the preteens who are not super jazzed about an art set, maybe they'll really love a giant set of Uno cards because they're colorful as well. And another fun thing would be just like a colorful beach towel. And your parents will thank you for that later, because then they're going to need that to cover their seats on the drive home.
Ooh, good point. Good point. I really like this event for Easter because I mean, I love tie-dyeing Easter eggs, and now we're just tie-dyeing children. So that's great. That's a great upgrade, I think. Human tie-dye. Man, we're rethinking a lot on this name. Guys, the good news is you can name this event whatever you want because we give you editable graphics. So if you don't like our name, get wild and name it whatever you want. Amazing. So that's kind of the big overview. Now let's just give you a few helpful tips to help you make this event really, really great. Okay, tip number one, pass out sunglasses and face coverings. If you're doing these face coverings, we recommend white ones because then they will get dyed just like everything else. But pass this out in the beginning because, if you're running outside and it's sunny, you just want to protect those sweet little eyeballs. And, the face coverings not only will protect against airborne germs, but also from the powder getting into your mouth and nose. So do that.
Yes, do that. And speaking of protecting things, I know the things that we value more than our life is our phone. And so let's provide sandwich bags for the phones of everybody who brings one, especially the grown-ups. And some of them might be prepared and come with those waterproof pouches. So kudos to them who think that far in advance. But for most people who don't realize how messy it can get, especially as they're trying to take pictures of their kids, do provide some clear sandwich bags, and they can take pictures through them. So it's not going to hinder them from being able to take photos. And they will for sure be grateful that you did that later.
Okay, tip number 3 is you can make this a fundraiser. So there's tons of ways that you can take a race format and turn it into a fundraiser. And this is actually a great thing to do if your church is doing some kind of like Easter giving campaign around this time. This is a really cool way to kind of roll all of that stuff into one. So if you want to, think about making it a fundraiser.
And speaking of fundraiser, we also
Ooh.
encourage you to add some fun twists because I feel like there are kids out there, maybe even volunteers out there, more like me, who may not be super
Mm,
jazzed about getting up early on, let's say, a Saturday morning to go running. So if you do incorporate some fun things, maybe it'll entice them a little bit more. So, one thing that we suggest is maybe instead of just a flat out race where they do laps, you can make it an obstacle course. So if you have a playground handy, have them run through the playground and down the slide as part of the course. You can set up cones that they have to like zigzag around or like play tunnels that they have to crawl through. You can get super creative. And I think that will make it a little bit more of a challenge for them.
mm,
Another thing is you can encourage them to say it's not a run; it can just be a speed walk thing,
that's
and
right.
most everyone can do that.
Walk
And
backwards.
or walk backwards, or just every lap you have to do it differently. Like
Yes.
one lap you have to skip, hop, dance. I
Mm,
think that would just make it really interesting and less like, oh, I have to run this many laps. I don't know. I was really bad at PE, so I keep
mm,
bringing this up. So I'm trying to be inclusive
mhm.
here. And as promised, you can incorporate an egg hunt. So, what you can do is you can have them search for eggs along the way. So, especially if it's not a timed thing where, like, I have to be the first, you can have kids, like, as they're going, spot an egg and, maybe provide like a neon hip pouch
Yes.
situation where they can put their eggs in so their hands can be free. That would be a really fun way to just amp up this event.
Love it. So fun. Well, friends, those are the ideas for our discipleship activity and our event for the spring quarter of Volume 5 of Grow Kids. We have ideas for these every single quarter that are specific to what's going on that time of year. So come back in a quarter from now and check out what we've got for the summer season. But in the meantime, we would love to see your pictures. We would love to hear your ideas of how you're making these things your own. So feel free to drop those in our Facebook group. You can find it at Stuff You Can Use, a children's ministry community, if you search for that on Facebook. And just remember, all of these ideas are yours for the taking. If you're using Grow, you get all the resources to make it happen. But if you're not using Grow, feel free to steal these ideas and make them your own. And either way, friends, we just want to see how you're infusing your creativity into all of these things. So please share with us because we think you are really awesome. All right, friends, thank you so much. We'll see you next time. Bye.